All right, definitely appropriate. I'm wearing the Goldman Sachs shirt today. I want to talk to you about how I got started thinking about things from the financier perspective and starting to really focus my business around my business as well as my personal portfolio around generating income from the financier strategy that we've been talking about. So it started with a business I bought. It was a home investor business. We bought and sold over 50 properties a year, which was a great business to be in from about 2004, 2005 when I bought it till 2007 when I happened to sell. And I had no idea what was coming in 2008, but was exiting out of the business, and then things started to crash, and I realized, oh wow, okay, great that I did get out, but I am a signer still because the bank didn't want to transfer. We had major lines of credit when you're buying and selling 50 houses. That involves a lot of debt, mortgages, equity lines of credit, general just business loans. We had millions of dollars in loans. And what happened was the buyer, not really knowing what was around the corner, and honestly, I didn't either, didn't didn't think to start getting out of things, and actually because we couldn't sell things as quickly, started increasing the lines. And it's like, okay, well, before we were X in and out of deals in 60 days, now it's taking 90. And then it was like, okay, now it's taking 120. And unfortunately, it wasn't until it was too late that he realized, oh no, we're just in a totally different market. It's not just that things are taking a little bit longer to exit. And so here we are, we've got millions of dollars in debt, and the market is just crashing and credit is locking up. And I literally was facing bankruptcy. And I remember going, it was one of the first times that I spent time working through all of the loans and the payments, and how much we had spent, even going back to buying the business. When I bought the business and realizing, okay, I got this SBA loan. Wait a minute, what's this amount right here? And realizing, okay, well, the person that connected me with the SBA loan got paid. And just realizing, when I looked at the interest, like, wow, these banks and lenders and all them, they made about as much money as I have, and they haven't done any of the work. They didn't deal with all of the headaches associated getting the call about toilet at midnight, and dealing with contractors that were just crazy, and inspections and all kinds of just issues. And it was a lot of work. And when I look back and I'm like, wait a minute, so the bank has been making this much money. I need to get on this other side. And so I'm going through this process of literally bankruptcy, just thinking, okay, I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. And that was the first time that I wanted to educate myself on banking, and kind of realize, like, okay, like there's number one, there's just a ton of money in this. How can I get to the other side of this table? Even if I have to file bankruptcy, like, how do I get to the other side of this table? And I just decided, like, my next business is going to be in the business of finance, and understanding investment banking. And one of the things I came across was a factoring business. And it was just a business that lends and gives access to credit to small businesses, and was able to do a no money down deal. I'm broke, I'm stressed. I'm like, okay, I got to get to my next thing. And it just was a different level of education. I learned about asset protection. I'm like, okay, if I have to file bankruptcy, I got to figure out in the future, how do I set things up so that I'm not losing everything? And, I'm running this little business offering financing to small businesses. And it was really, really profitable and a lot easier because people spread the word about me. I didn't have to go out. You know, we had billboards all over. We spent a lot of money advertising in my previous, in the business I was in before, and in several businesses, in the tennis business, in the retail business. You had to spend a ton of money to get people in the door. And here I was now with this new business, and I would just tell a few people, and they would tell other people because you're offering money. So they want to come. And the great thing was, it wasn't even my money. I had somebody else that was willing to put up the money. They loved the returns. These people needed the money, and I could be the in-between person. And that's, at the end of the day, all that a financier does. It's like, hey, there are people who want returns here. There are people who want to pay returns there. You get to make a cut in the middle. And I learned a ton. I learned a ton about lending, about finding the really great deals, credit worthiness, all those things, protecting, and even patience. It was interesting to be going through and dealing with the bank during my bankruptcy. And so one of the coolest things, and when I'm stressing to you guys that you want to get on this other side of the table and play both sides, because it just puts you into a whole nother world. So several opportunities came up because I was just doing this type of investing. As kind of a side note to that is it led to just a lot of other opportunities. Once I started doing those deals, I realized, wow, there's this whole world of being basically a Goldman Sachs for small businesses. And the reason the word spread so quickly about me is because there aren't anybody that's being an investment banker for small businesses. So a few things happened that were cool. Number one is I had really great relationships at the bank. I mean, they loaned me a lot of money. And so, outside of us getting in trouble, I had those relationships, and I knew a guy that was in the commercial department. Actually, I was in Chattanooga. He originally was in Chattanooga. That's how I first connected with him. And then he went to the main office was in Memphis, so he got a promotion. So, we're talking, and I'm telling him about this factory thing. It's like, dude, like, we love those paper assets. We can buy those from you. We just send us a deal. You'll make an amount. And so that gave me access to more capital. So I had my individual investor, and then it was interesting. So the individual investor, just so you guys know, actually was the person that owned the business before. He's like, I just don't want to do the legwork. If you'll do the legwork, I'll put up the money. No money down deal, beautiful deal. So my access to more capital came with the bank that was coming after me and almost forcing me into bankruptcy. And, I'm talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, like, we can do this deal. That's a totally separate thing, man. So and it's just interesting. Like, you want to get into places, like in that case, obviously my personal credit was ruined. And, I just was going through all of that stuff, but this is such a separate thing that none of that mattered. They didn't even pull my credit. And he's like, dude, we can do up to $1 million in these a year. So essentially $1 million line of credit for me to go out and do these deals without personal liability, without any of that. And that was the first thing, was like, wait a minute. Like, I've been playing the wrong game. I don't have to sign, personally, and be liable for this. And so again, it was a different game. And I remember going to him. Even I had the commercial building. I had a commercial building. I lived on the top floor, and that was one of the assets that they were coming after and wanting to foreclose on. And I went to him like, man, they're trying to foreclose on the house. And, we've got this other thing that's like profitable and he wants to keep it going. And so the next thing I know, like, I go in because I'm just trying to make little payments. And I go in to make a payment, and I'm like, what's the minimum payment? And she was like, the minimum payment is zero. Like, you don't have a payment. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's the balance? And she's like, the balance is the same, but you don't have like a payment due. And then I just literally didn't have a payment due for a while. And I definitely won't say his name. I don't know if that how that worked. I never got the details, but I did have to make a payment. Eventually was able to exit out of that building, get them paid off, and all of that worked out. And the truth is, it was a better deal. And this is what I learned even in my Financier business. You know, I've got one business, financierbank.com, that you guys can, I'll put the link below. But, you know, and then I just got a lot of personal deals in the space outside of Financier as well. And what I realized is like, okay, like, man, if the bank would have come in and taken that and during the market that we were in at that point and then auctioned it off, like they would have gotten pennies on the dollar. And by having patience, I was able to give them all of the money that was owed. And so it ended up really working out in a lot of ways. And then the most important thing was I didn't have to file bankruptcy. This became my source of income. I was able to work deals and figure out things with all of that. And so it was just a really great experience. Messed up my personal credit, but I was happy to not have to file bankruptcy. And then I was able to come back and fix my personal credit. So that, and now I've got, I think I checked like 750, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And this was years ago. But the valuable lesson was, okay, I need to be on this other side of the table. I'll tell you one more quick story that just being a financier, how the doors open, you know, I think that deal with the bank ended up just really changing how I see, number one, how the world works, and number two, how I want to run my business. But then, you know, like I mentioned, as I started to tell people that I was doing factoring, other folks talked about it. And as I started to say, hey, I offer financing to business, and now we can offer this, we can do this, and da da da. And, you know, I'm going to talk about some of the really cool things that you can do that help your deal maker business. You know, getting access to this deal flow just helps your business. So I get a call one day, and it's from the son of the CEO of a massive multi-billion-dollar corporation that was based in Chattanooga. And he's like, hey, like you're doing this factoring thing. We're trying to create a factoring department basically within our business. And I'm like, okay, like what can I do? It's like, well, let's have lunch. And so, you know, bottom line, have lunch, meet with him, talk about what I'm doing. And what the bottom line is, I mean, you tell me, how many people do you know that number one are financiers? They're just independent people going out there looking for deals, raising capital on one end, you know, putting it into businesses. How many people have you ever heard of that do factoring? And so they needed somebody with expertise, preferably somebody who wasn't just working in a factoring company, which even that's difficult, but had gone out and done this on their own. And it was like you're the only one here. That like we have no other options. And so this led to, and this is all within like a 6-month period. Like it wasn't like I've been doing this for years. And so this led to, you know, fast forward literally a few weeks, I'm on private jets flying around, and I'm also getting another kind of bit of insight. It's, you know, realizing as they're meeting with their investment bankers, which are on another level, and realizing that, you know, here's this person that runs $1 billion company, but at the end of the day, they're beholden to the investment bankers, the financiers. And so, you know, when you see us doing, you know, I think about the really cool, you know, I talked about the client, or we've got the video up of the client who became a financier in the webinar space and just, you know, turned 25,000 into 40,000 in annual fees and income. And only got an investor to put up 25 grand. He didn't put up anything and turned that into that kind of income. It's the fact that very few people understand this stuff. And so learning it puts you at a huge advantage, and it opens doors, and people treat you differently. You can, you know, go from being the rogue client of the bank to being, hey, we'll just waive payments. Don't worry about it. You can go from just being this independent guy to being put on private jets and flown around. And it's because when you get this knowledge, nobody else has it. Everybody has heard of Goldman Sachs. But when you ask somebody like, okay, like how did it start? And how does it make money? And how did they get to where they are now? They don't realize like, oh, it's just started with one dude, one financier. That's it. Just doing stuff. So hopefully this is valuable. If you're interested in like learning these strategies, I'm gonna put my partner in Financier Bank's email below. You can contact him. I'm thinking about doing some training. So let me know if this is something that you guys are interested in. I wanted to give you kind of that origin story of like how I even started to look into this stuff. Because before I was happy just to be the entrepreneur. I was happy just, okay, I'm gonna do this business. Like I don't need to understand what they're doing with this banking stuff and all that. I'm just the thing that we all know, the thing that's promoted on Instagram every day is, entrepreneur life. And the truth is, behind the scenes, there's a lot more money being made than what the folks are making on Instagram. Thanks so much. Let me know if this is something that's interesting. Feel free to reach out to my partner, Andrew, as well. And look forward to seeing what your thoughts are on the video. Thanks so much.